Hey guys, and welcome to this hybrid picking lesson, and this is all about getting you started with this technique. And it's such a cool technique. It really does cross genres, so it's not something that you play just in country music, for example. You can play it in rock, pop, blues, whatever style of music you're playing. There's definitely room for this technique, okay? And in this lesson, I'm going to start by showing you a really cool lead line, which will break down super slow so you can understand what I'm doing with my right and my left hand. And then a little later on, we're going to go through a chord part as well. So we give you two different styles of hybrid picking that you can practice, and it will get you off to the best possible start. So stay tuned for the chord part as well a little later. Now, let's kick off with the lead part, and this is what we're going to be playing. Okay guys, so just before we crack on with that lead part and get that learned properly, do remember to head on over to the website via the link in the description, and you'll find the download for the backing track, the download for the guitar profile, as well as a full write-up, all totally free. So head on over to the website via that link and get those bits and bobs. Okay, so let's get started by talking through the left hand. For now, we're just going to not worry about the hybrid picking at all. We're going to look at that in a second, really close up. But for now, let's just actually get the fretting correct, what fingers we're using for what, and go from there, okay? So basically, we're up in the box 2. We're in kind of D major here, and we're using pentatonic shape 2, this shape. Okay, we're also chucking in a blues note. Okay, so it's just a kind of basic kind of pentatonic bluesy scale idea, but it's how we roll through that which is the key thing here, okay? So just for your reference, this is the 10th fret, okay? So I'm going to kick off. These are the notes I'm going to be doing, okay? So I'm going to be going through like this. Okay, so let me just take you through that bit by bit. So I'm going to start with a hammer on and pull off. So hammer on to the 12 and pull back off to the 10. Then the 12 on the B string and then back up to the 10. Okay? Okay, so kind of a simple idea. Again, don't worry at all what the right hand's doing for now. We'll deal with that in a second. So it could just be all plectrum for now. Then you're going to go 12, pull off to 10, and then the 11th fret on the G string. So we got. Now these pull-offs and hammer-ons are absolutely crucial when it comes to your hybrid picking. So make sure you are doing the pull-offs where I'm saying. And then we're going to come back to the 12th fret here and do another pull-off. 12, 10. Then I'm going to do 11, pull off to 10. That's my blues note. And then slide down to 9. So you get. Okay, so let's just do all the way up to then. Okay, and then we're going to go 12, 9, okay, and again I'm going to pull off there, 12, and then finish by sliding from 9 up to 12, hitting my D, which is my root note. So the whole thing really, really slowly is this. So really, really make sure that you're doing all those pull-offs in the right place. So hammer on, pull off, pluck, pluck, pull off, pluck, pull off, pull off, slide, pull off, slide. And the other thing to notice is it's all 16th notes. It's absolutely even. And it lasts for an entire bar. So that's the absolute basics in terms of what the left hand is doing. And you will notice that when we do use hybrid picking licks, we do quite a lot of that concept where you go down and then back up, and then down and then back up. It's kind of like a sequence that we start to develop that really fits nicely and neatly with hybrid picking. Okay, so let's just start by taking a look at the lick from this perspective. So here it is, nice and slow. So, first thing to note is that for hybrid picking, I really need to keep this hand position. So if you were used to doing that when you play something like this, then you need to start bringing it down to this, so more like a fist, because my fingers, however many I end up using, whether it's 1, 2 or 3, and you can use all 3, need to be near the strings, of course. So that is the first thing that you might need to just adjust as you do this, okay? Now, the second thing is realizing how it basically works with a lick like this, which is that you still kind of use the plectrum for your initial strokes, and then when you go back up a string, you'll use the hybrid picking, okay? So let's just keep this really simple for now, and I'm just going to take you through it, okay, with the hybrid picking. So if we remember our first set of notes, okay, was that. Now what I'm going to do here is we're going to start with a hybrid picked thing, just to kind of put you in a nice position, okay? So I'm going to put my middle finger on the E string, okay? And I'm going to pluck that for my first note. Then my plectrum's going to play the B string. Okay? And then my next note, if you remember, goes like this. So there I'm going to, again, the highest string that I'm going to be playing is going to be hybrid picked. So the high string is the E in this case. I'm going to hybrid pick that, and then plectrum on the B string, and plectrum on the G string. Okay? So highest string is hybrid picked, and the rest with a plectrum. So far we've got this. Hybrid pick, plectrum, hybrid pick, like that, okay? Now next up we're going to go back to the B string now, and now the B string is the highest string. So that's going to get hybrid picked. So we're going to hybrid pick the B string, same finger, and then we're going to come down. Okay, so we got hybrid pick, and then for that little blues run we got plectrum, and then plectrum, okay? And then we're just going to keep coming down. As we go down, we're just going to use the plectrum all the way down to the B string, the A string, and then for the D string last slide, we're going to be grabbing that middle finger for the hybrid pick. Okay, so we've got hybrid pick, hybrid pick, hybrid pick, hybrid pick. So the basic rule here, which isn't always the case, but in this instance it really is that when you go from a lower string to a higher string, hybrid pick, okay? And we're just using the one finger for now because this is a great way to get started with something that's usable straight away. So once again, and as you get more confident with that, it speeds up quite nicely. And you can see how you can quite quickly get that to a pace where it feels really cool to play. Because really, if I had to pick through all that, it would be a total mess. And if I don't use the hybrid picking, you can do it all just with the plectrum, of course, but the hybrid picking gives you that extra twang, and for me, it actually makes it easier to play faster. So I think it's a really effective technique that you can start applying to absolutely everything you're using. Okay guys, so there's the lead part, and now we're going to switch our attention to a rhythm part, and it's a slightly different style of hybrid picking because we're using two fingers rather than just the one. So it could be a little bit more difficult, but it's definitely something I recommend learning. So let's start by just having a listen and having a look at what we are trying to learn. so let's take a look at the chords, the actual physical stuff we're doing with the left hand before we come over to the hybrid picking and really master that. So don't worry about what you're doing with your right hand at the moment, just pick through everything if you want to. And this is what we're playing. We're basically playing through a D major, a C sharp minor 7, and then a B minor 7, essentially, okay? And this is in the key of D major, so we're basically going from the 1 to the 6, and we're just swapping out what would normally be a C sharp minor 7 flat 5, kind of diminished chord, for a minor 7th chord. It just adds a slightly different tweak to it. I kind of like that swap. It almost pulls it into the key of A major, but my resolve is definitely the D. And it's something that you are able to do, just kind of swapping those out, just gives it a slightly different vibe, but you can still play in D major over the top. You've got one note that's different. We're basically moving that up, okay, a semitone. So you've got a slightly quirky note in there, which actually, when you're playing pentatonics over it, gives it a really cool vibe. So that's the theory. Now, in terms of the part, it sounds like this. Okay, so let's just go through that. So I'm starting with the root note on the D, okay? Then I'm going to play the octave, okay? And then I'm going to go through my chord. And then when I hit the B string, I'm going to hammer it on to the 12th fret. Okay, so we get that kind of sus chord there. Almost. Or 9th, I should say. Okay? Very nice sounding chord. Then here, we're going to drop down and do the same thing, same idea on the C sharp minor 7. So we're going to go E string, D string, then pick through the G string and the B string, and then add in this little melody note. Okay, and in that instance, you don't hammer it on, you simply go. So it's just a really simple melody. So we got. And then we're going to drop down to the D, okay, or the B minor 7, okay, because the bass is doing the B. And I'm just simply grabbing those 3 notes all at the same time. Okay. And then the last little lick, okay, is based around this pentatonic box 1 in D major, and it goes like this. Okay, so I'm just simply going from 7 to 9, hammering on. Then the 7th fret of the D, back to the 9th fret of the A string. And then I'm going to do a Hendrix style hammer on, so I'm doubling up on the D and the G string, hammering on the 9th fret, but leaving the 7th fret ringing on the G string. And then go down the shape. So overall, you get this. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so there's your main chord part that's happening underneath. There's the chords. And now let's take a look at that right hand. Okay, so for the right hand here, we're adding an extra finger to what we did previously. So for the lick, we very much used our plectrum and our middle finger, the first finger available after the pick is being used. But now we're going to use the first and the second, so the middle finger and the finger after that. So we're now using 2 fingers here, okay, which is why it might feel a little bit more advanced, a little bit harder to play, but something which is very common in kind of chord-based hybrid picking, okay? So let me just kind of walk you through this so that you've got this great example to use and play. So on the D, if you remember, we're doing this. So I'm just, you know, in a basic world of just picking, I could just kind of pick through that. Okay? But I much prefer this hybrid picking sound. I think for me, it feels much cleaner and it's something I'm more in control of. Okay? So I'm going to do plectrum, plectrum, first finger, second finger. Let's call it first and second finger. Okay? So middle finger and the 4th finger there. Okay? So hopefully we can see that. Notice how I'm doing little movements and I'm keeping my fist like that rather than like this, otherwise it's going to be really, really hard to keep up with this. Okay. And then we do the same thing on the next chord. So I'm doing plectrum, plectrum, first hybrid pick, second finger hybrid pick. So that fourth finger picks the B string twice. Okay. And then when I get down to the kind of B minor, which I hit all as one, I'm going to hit the plectrum on the D string, the middle finger on the G string, and the fourth finger on the B string. So I grab it with all those fingers. Okay. So we get this. Oh, sorry. Okay. And the lick we're just going to do with the plectrum. Okay, so as not to kind of overcomplicate things at this point, just play that as you normally would with a plectrum. And that really is the part that you can just loop round and round. And what I would just say here is just, as you're practicing this hybrid picking, really, really do it slow, okay? Really focus on the technique here so that your fingers are not splayed out too much, so they're nice and close, and that you start to get a nice feel. It's just like when, if I put that plectrum down, if you start, just normal finger picking, okay? It's just that first part where you're just getting used to just the simple act of just the fingers, the flesh being on the strings and just not having to pick it so hard. Just literally getting used to that feeling, okay? And if you've never done finger picking and you're trying to bring in the plectrum with the finger picking, then there's going to be that extra little barrier to kind of get past. So it is important to take it slow, take your time, and then gradually you'll find that these sounds become more even. You'll go from kind of something like this, where it's a little bit twangy and sharp, to just gradually getting that nice and neat. And it's the kind of thing you can just sit down on the sofa and just practice with your eyes closed. Just kind of rolling through those chords and then obviously putting them together with the actual track and everything else. Okay guys, so that's it from me. I really hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Remember to like and subscribe the page if you want to see weekly free lessons from me and your Guitar Academy. And of course, head on over to the website to get that guitar profile, the backing track, and a full write-up totally free. I'll see you next time.